Good morning, campers, hi and all that. My name's Ian, I sell books on eBay. It's Sunday morning and so far the weekend has been not bad. It's the start of the month, payday weekend, and people are obviously keen to get some books and get reading. So let's just show you what was going out yesterday on Saturday. Last few weeks I've been kind of doubling this up and doing a full weekend one, but I've got enough just to run through today to drop a wee video and show you what is sold on Saturday the 1st of June. So, Lee Child. I had changed my Lee Child listings so that everything was available individually. And it actually worked out cheaper for the buyer if they bundled them, etc. And nothing was selling, so I put them back to the variation listing that I had before. And surprise, surprise, another 5 have gone out. So from like 1 book in 2 weeks, that's us up to 10 books in 2 days. So 5 Lee Child paperbacks, £12.99. A good start, especially for Lee Child. And then, I've got such a stack in front of me here, we sold 3 Lee Child books. This time, £12.49. A couple of hardcovers, makes all the difference to the price. These might be over 2 kilos. It's going to be quite close, but charge extra for the hardcovers to allow for that. With 3 books for £12.49. Very good indeed. So that's just what, 13 books in 2 days after 1 in 13 days, if you want to look at it that way. Next up, another of the Paris and Tyson Fury duo 2-book bundle. God, I made a right mess of that, didn't I? £7.99. That's a few of them sold, but still plenty to go. And then we've got a single book, £4.99. Really good condition, I mean, as new condition. Catherine Rundle, The Good Thieves, so some sort of fantasy type thing that Philip Pullman and Jacqueline Wilson both really like. So £4.99 for that one. And then we've got a pre-made bundle. 5 Peppa Pig books. I've been finding the Peppa Pig does quite well, especially if you just put them into a bundle and let people go and pick them up as they see fit. £9.99 for the 5 of those. They cost me maybe £1 to pick up, so that's quite acceptable. Then we've got a £4.25 Bulgakov, I think that's how you pronounce it, a country doctor's notebook, so a wee vintage edition, not a vintage book but vintage classics, that's obviously the label on it. £4.25 for that one, but it will go large letter, so save a few pence on the postage with that. And then we've got another bundle, not Lee Child this time, but Bernard Cornwell. You know, I do like a bit of Bernard. £12.99, 5 Bernard Cornwell paperbacks, heading all the way to Robert. Right, Lee Child, all on its own this time, but it came from the same listing. So a week ago this was listed for like £4 or £5. Sold for £6.99 off the variation list, and £3 plus £3.99 in postage. Thank you, Christine. The Shipping News by Annie Prue. Read this years ago, I don't really remember much about it, but it was quite good, although I didn't enjoy the film. So yeah, a copy of the Shipping News, £4.25, nothing spectacular, but a nice wee single book sale. Then we have, this one's a bit mixed up, so I just need to find it. There it is. Right, 7 Sisters, Lucinda Riley, £4.99. Followed by, now this, the buyer who was in buying this, it went through as 2 different lots because it was a 5 and a 3, and that Lucinda Riley book got sold in between the 2 of them. So what we have is £9.99 plus £9.99 for a big stack of Danielle Steele books. So all quite good. I have tweaked the prices on these, so I think I've brought them down just like a couple of quid a book. So instead of £12.99 for 5, it's £9.99 for 5. and coincidentally it works out the same price just about for the three, depending on which ones get picked up. Yes, that's them all. Sorry, just because it's all split across different things on the screen, I was making sure I had them. They're all there. Excellent. Right, next is another bundle, a mixed bundle that the buyer has gone and grabbed together themselves. The Love Hypothesis, a TikTok sensation book. Ali Hazelwood. Not a book I knew, but covers like that seem to do quite well. Good condition. And that goes alongside A Tapestry of Treason by Anne O'Brien, so a nice big first edition hardcover. And The Binding by Bridget Collins, which again is lovely condition, and it, if you can see that on there, is a signed edition. So very nice indeed. And I know it's a signed edition because the ink's leaked through onto the other page, and the three of those sold for, what was that, about £14-15. Again, split over two different parts on the screen, so it's kind of never quite sure exactly how it works out. £4.25, Mallory Towers Collection 3. So Enid Blyton's Mallory Towers Collection 3, written by Pamela Cox, £4.25. And then a wee £5 sale, The Way of the Tortoise, A Journal to Happiness. So this can sell for £10 quite easily, but it's got a wee bit of kind of water damage on the front, which is in the pictures hopefully shown quite clearly to whoever's bought it. And it's a journal rather than a book, so unfortunately it's got VAT in it too, but it's even got a lovely little bookmark in it, completely unused or abused. £5 for that one. Going to Sophie. And the last order, which just came in the wee small hours of the morning, heading to Michael, are 3 Arthur C. Clarke books. So we've got 3001, The Final Odyssey, Rama 2, and Arthur C. Clarke's Chronicles of the Strange and Mysterious. And the three of them, £9.99. So they're just like £3 each, and then £3.99 postage. But it's buy two, get one free. So somebody's getting a bargain there, no doubt about it. And that's where we're up to so far today. I'm going to drop back in later this afternoon because there's a couple of wee things I want to talk about, but right now I'm going to get these packed up and out the way so that I can go on with the next part of my day. Whatnot. Right, so I thought I'd come back and do this whilst it's still kind of fresh in here, and I've crunched a couple of numbers. Whatnot. I have tried out Whatnot this weekend, selling on, obviously, not buying's easy enough to do, but the selling on, I thought I would give that a wee go. So we've had 4 sales, a big mix sale on Friday, a kind of special edition, signed edition on Saturday morning, some fantasy and sci-fi Saturday afternoon, and then this morning from 11 ran Stephen King, Terry Pratchett and Harry Potter books, as the way it runs. So, is it worth it? The short answer, based on everything so far, is no, it's not. It's value for money for what you make. It's not worth it. I'll run through what it has cost, taken, done so far, and one of these numbers is, I guess, a presumption because I've not packed up the stuff for the show that's just finished yet, but based on what it's taken to pack the other things, I've got a good idea of how long that's going to take me. But here's the crunch. Let's do the money side of it first, and then we'll get into how much time it's actually taken to do all of this. Total sales have been £243 over 4 shows. So it's not a huge amount of money, but it's a nice amount of money for, you know, what could have been only a few hours work. But from that 243, I've got fees to pay to Whatnot, which is about 10%. I don't have a full breakdown on that because it takes a couple of days for their systems to kind of update and show you exactly what's going to be due, but the fees on that are going to be round about £25. Also, cost of packaging for everything that's gone out and needs to go out is going to be about £6 for everything that's done, so that takes us up to 31, and then it's round about 140-ish books, so that's about £30 to £35 stock cost as well, which means that the actual money that I should get back from my efforts over the last couple of days is about 177, and it's ballpark. The fees are a wee bit more complicated to work out because you pay a fee on the postage that you don't actually get, and there's various things, but round about 170, £177 is what I should get out from the 4 sales that I have done. 170 quid, quite nice if it's free money in your pocket, but what did it take to actually do that? And then what has it cost me to do that as well? So the amount of time taken to do all of this, and this is the first time doing this, so some of this will have taken a lot longer than it needed to, because I'm kind of back and forth, checking things, looking at things, working things out, a lot of second guessing, a lot of changing my mind. But we spent 6 hours all in preparing for the 4 different sales. First one took a lot of time, and then it's been quicker and quicker and quicker for the 3 that followed that, so about 6 hours prep time for all of that. The presenting time across the 4 shows has been about 4.5 hours. So the first show was quite long, the 2 on Saturday were quite short, and then the one we're on this morning went for about an hour, hour and a quarter. So it's about 4.5 hours, I think, full presenting time on that one there. So that's us up at over 10 hours already. Packing, this is a bit of a guesstimate because it's been a wee bit broken up. After the first show, I spent probably about an hour and a half packing everything all up there. The 2 shows yesterday, I packed them as soon as they were done, and each took less than half an hour. So I'm just going to call it half an hour each. So an hour in total. So we're at about 2.5 hours. What I've got today, it'll probably take half an hour, but I'm going to give it an hour just to be sure, and I'll round that up to 4 hours, just to keep it simple and allowing for any to-ing and fro-ing, and also for the amount of time that it'll take me to pop in to the different shops I need to go to drop off the post as it goes, which means 15 hours approximately it has taken to make £170. Do the maths. It's minimum wage. That's all it is. So from that point of view, it wasn't worth the effort on, if you're looking at what's my income like. However, this weekend was about testing and trying and seeing what was happening, and it very quickly becomes clear what does and doesn't work. There's a few things that I now know are a waste of time, and I didn't need to spend time prepping them. I didn't need to spend time presenting them because they weren't going to sell. It's the wrong environment for that. I thought that might be the case. Now I know it's the case. So moving forward, that eliminates an awful lot of what I don't need to do. Quite a few guys have been on the sales, and you'll have seen just how many have and have not sold out of the items listed. I've sold probably about somewhere between a third and a half of everything that was presented has sold. So that's actually a lot better than I expected, to be perfectly honest. There was that worry that maybe get 1 or 2 sales across an entire hour's worth of show, which would make it really, really, really not worthwhile. But it did do a wee bit better than I had anticipated, and thankfully a lot of the stuff that I thought would sell did sell. Some stuff that I'm surprised didn't go. Other things that I thought wouldn't sell did, although that's very much in the minority. So moving forward, I know, I've got an idea of how to refine what I'm going to put up and present for these sales, and what are the best types of sales, the best way to structure these things to get them moving. Strangely, the one that I thought would be poorest would have been that kind of generic sale that I ran on Friday evening, and it had the most sales. It did also have an awful lot of listings, and I know a lot of you guys joined for that and bought a lot of bits and pieces, so it's maybe not representative of what a typical Whatnot show would be. The other shows, I think, are a wee bit kind of a better idea of what is good and what's worth it. Now, before I decide whether or not this is something that I really want to continue with any kind of significant effort, what has it cost me out with time and making a minimum wage? The books I have sold, I've sold at a fraction of the price I might have sold them for on eBay. So that's got to be a big consideration. However, the eBay pound takes an awful lot longer to earn. Not for my time, it just sits and waits to go. Whereas the Whatnot pound, it comes in fast. Whatnot, a lot of books selling for £1 or £2, which is not an awful lot of money, and means that you really are making pennies on a book if it sells for only £1. There's no real advantage to the seller in people buying things and making them into bundles and selling them that way, because you pay the same transaction fee on each individual item. You don't save anything across that piece. But there is advantage in bundling books together beforehand to sell them that way and make an awful lot more money. You know, if a set of 3 books sells for £3, that earns about £2.20, £2.50 back in. If 3 books sell for £3 each but they've been bundled up, that brings in 50, 60 pence. So there's a significant difference between in how that's done. So that's something to be thinking going forward. So yes, if I'd sold everything I had on eBay, I would have sold it for 3 or 4 times as much. So instead of a couple of £100 worth of sales, it could have been £600, £700, £800 worth of sales. You know, kind of half a week's worth of normal bits and pieces. But I didn't do that. We did it this way. The stuff has moved. The stuff has moved rather well, and the good thing is I can go out and source more. I can take it from the shelves and shelves and shelves and shelves of books that I already have to run more listings. I'm not mad keen on doing that, because then you're messing between eBay and another selling platform, and guaranteed if I list something on 2 at the same time, they'll sell on both and I'll end up with a mark against me in one place or the other, which is something I want to avoid. So some of the stuff that I've had in the Whatnot sales over the last couple of days was new stock in that was not yet listed on eBay. Some of it I took down from eBay and put it up in Whatnot, and now those bits that haven't sold I'll need to be putting back up. So there's still more time involved in doing that, but all these processes, you learn from them, you refine them, and you make them work. What will make this work going forward? Prep time needs to be less than the presenting time of the show. So at the moment, that has not been the case. 6 hours prepping for about 4.5 hours presenting, that doesn't work out. If it's going to be 5 hours worth of presenting, I want it to be a couple of hours of prep. That's where that needs to get to. So that needs practice, a system, process in place to get stuff in, get it listed, get it organised. And that prep also includes time working out how you're going to construct it and do it. So the more practice you get at that, the quicker that becomes. If that goes down and I was spending 2 hours prepping for every 5 hours presenting, then the packaging time would still be maybe 2 to 3 hours on that. So about 10 hours in total for 5 hours worth of sales. And if that brought in £250 again, then that makes it much more worthwhile. That gets us to where we need to be. So based on that, we will be continuing with Whatnot. I. There'll be a few different sale formats over the next week, a few more things I want to test and try out. There is not much competition on Whatnot selling books, so if there is an audience there for it, hopefully I'm going to be able to attract enough of them to make it worth my while and see where it all goes. And that's it. So Whatnot, so far, not worth it financially. for the hourly rate. It's taken good stock that was sold for better money elsewhere, but it has sold it faster. And yes, I am going to continue. It's quite niche at the moment. A lot of stuff on there is all collector's cards and that kind of stuff. But there was a time, which I remember, when eBay, Amazon were both considered novelties and a wee bit niche, and a lot of people raised their eyebrows, saying that'll never take off. And look where we are now. So let's get in on the ground floor for Whatnot, see how it works. It's good, it's fun. I enjoy doing the shows. Might be difficult to keep the energy up if you're doing that 2-3 times a day all the time, which I see some sellers do, but we'll keep cracking on at the moment. What did you think of it? Do you enjoy them? Do you like them? Do you like the format? Does it work for you? Are you going to give it a go yourself? A lot of you guys will be sellers. Are you going to see if you can sign up and have a crack and really get the platform building momentum and get it moving? Or are you just quite happy to let other suckers like me take all the pain, all the misery, and stand in front of a camera talking for hours on end? Anyway, on that note, it's like coming on to 1 o'clock. There's been no more sales in this morning on eBay to share with you. Well, that's a lie, there's one, but I've not even picked it yet. I Am Pilgrim, Terry Hayes, somebody like that. We paperback for £4. Nothing spectacular, so I'll just be getting that bundled up as I go. Now I'm going to pack this lot, then I'm going to go and pick up a whole load more books, hopefully. Then I need to go and try and fix my sister's push bike, and then I'm going to get my dinner. That is a Sunday. Alright, thanks very much guys, thanks for your support as ever. Like, subscribe, do all of those things, and I shall see you tomorrow.